Al. I'm Ethan Russo. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ethan.
Sure, I should tell you, I used to be a basketball player, but I hit the apogee of my career in the fourth grade when I was the pointless guard for the Herget's Oil team that won the league championship. But it was all downhill from there. Then in 10th grade, I managed to get cut from the JV hockey team. Uh, So I switched to basketball, learned how to do a jump shot, and 2 days later got cut from that. So then I became a wrestler, and I was better at that. But that's what happens when you top out at 5'6". Anyway, obviously you did a lot better in that sphere.
Yeah, I got lucky. I definitely was kind of like you in the beginning, trying to figure out what sport was for me. In the beginning, basketball was not my sport. I remember for like most of my life until I was a freshman in high school, maybe sophomore, I couldn't even beat my mom one-on-one. Football was something that I thought I was going to end up being an NFL player. Like my goal was to go to Notre Dame and to get drafted by the New York Giants. That was like my dreams growing up. But things definitely changed pretty quickly. And obviously I was able to enjoy a 16-year NBA career. So definitely was truly blessed. And, I feel bad for you, man, that you wasn't able to, get over the hump. You learned the jump shot in 2 or 3 days and it just didn't get you to that level. Sucks.
Yeah, well, again, that was it. But Al, I'm sure everybody'd be interested as well as me in learning what brought you to the cannabis business.
Well, what brought me to the cannabis business was pretty much my grandmother. Her name is Viola. So, she's the inspiration behind the company. But she had come to see me play about 11 years ago when I was playing for the Denver Nuggets. And, she was taking all this medication. Asked her why. She told me a long list of things that I always say Black grandmothers kind of deal with: high blood pressure, diabetes, glaucoma. But when she said glaucoma, it stuck out to me about an article that I was reading like 2 days before she had got there about how cannabis cured glaucoma. So I just started talking to her about it, and finally she asked me what was it, and I said marijuana, weed, and she looked at me and said, "Reefer, you out of your mind. I can't believe you recommended me to smoke reefer." And she laughed for about 5 minutes. She thought it was so funny. So she tells me no, obviously. And then literally the next day, I come home and she was complaining about her eye pain and saying like she couldn't see. So I always say this was God at work. And I was able to convince her to try it. Hour and a half later, I go and check on her, and she was downstairs crying, reading her Bible. So it was the first time she read the words in the Bible in over 3 years. And, I always tell people about my grandmother. My grandfather died when she was in her 30s. And, she never remarried. She married the Lord. So I always say, like, if my grandmother's not going to heaven, we're all doomed. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's that type of woman. And that way that she lived her life, I feel like, she's definitely, highly favored. So for her to be open-minded enough to try cannabis and to help her definitely changed the way I looked at it. And obviously inspired me to do what I'm doing today, being obviously a huge activist and lobbyist and entrepreneur and everything across the board, where we're trying to change the stigma around this amazing plant.
Sure. Now, is Viola still with us?
Yeah, she's still with us. She's 90 years old. She's 90. Yeah, lives down in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, great. Well, you could tell her that most people aren't aware that cannabis is in the Bible as cannabosum, which means aromatic reed. It's in Exodus as part of the holy anointing oil.
Yeah.
And it was proven that this is part of the ancient Jewish rites. They found residue of cannabis in altars, in what's now Israel recently. So anyway, it's been misrepresented throughout time, as you're well aware, and it's great that you found that out. With my colleagues, we did a study of one patient with glaucoma. And of course, it was Robert Randall who was the first patient that proved to the government that it worked for his glaucoma and started the compassionate use access program that was giving cannabis grown by the government to a limited number of patients. Anyway, she's in good company there. Very good.
Yeah, definitely. So, so how did you get into the space?
Well, Sure. I'm a neurologist by training. And I always had an interest in medicinal plants, and I had a familiarity with cannabis in college, no secret there. And I was aware of its use medically. In 1970, when I entered college, I knew uh, many young women used it to treat pain with their periods. Um, and then didn't have a lot of information about medical use until I was a neurology resident in 1980 at the Veterans Administration Hospital, no less. There was a fellow there, World War II vet. He had a condition called myasthenia gravis. It's an autoimmune condition that produces muscle weakness. He had an average of 3 admissions to the intensive care unit per year because he couldn't breathe because of weakness. That was before he found that putting cannabis in with his pipe tobacco helped him, made him feel stronger, and he'd gone quite a long time without any hospital admissions. Um, and the staff there was very aware of that, but that was in 1980, just before Reagan came into office, and we entered the dark ages as far as cannabis policy. And we're still trying to recover from that now. But anyway, fast forward a bit. I was in practice in Missoula, Montana, circa 1990, and I was really unhappy because I found I was giving increasingly toxic drugs to my patients with less and less benefit, and feeling that there had to be a better way. So I rekindled an interest in medicinal plants. And this led me to the rainforest in Peru. I took a sabbatical with the Machiginga tribe in the Amazon for a couple of months. When I came back, it was 1996. Prop 215 was starting in California, and I quickly became embroiled in the cannabis controversy. Um, so I wanted to do studies, government approved studies and throughout the late 90s, I was trying to get that done. I even had permission from the Food and Drug Administration, but the National Institute on Drug Abuse, that was the sole source of legal cannabis, wouldn't provide it to me. Anyway, part of my adolescent rebellion as an adult, I decided I definitely wanted to do this. But truthfully, I was really taken with the science and complexity and beauty of cannabis and the endocannabinoid system. And it, from there, became a second career. So that led me to a stint with GW Pharmaceuticals, the British company that has developed the only two cannabis-derived pharmaceutical drugs to date, Sativex and Epidiolex. And more recently, have been involved in private companies, including our own Credo Science, and we continue the effort to try and leverage cannabis and the endocannabinoid system for better health for all.